Thank you, Scott. Thanks all of you for coming out. You know, it's no secret today that we live in the greatest time in human history. Breakthroughs in science and arts and communications, and it's a wonderful time to be alive. And along with that, also, we're in one of the hardest times economically. It's tough out there, isn't it, folks? I mean, how many of you know somebody, or you maybe yourself, but you know somebody that's at risk? They're at risk, their house is underwater if they own a house. They're either underemployed or unemployed, or they're at risk of any of those. Or they have young people. You know, some of the stats on young people getting out of college and trying to find a job, not pretty. The other thing that I know is when I look ahead, unfortunately, I don't see any good news. I don't see anything out there that says that this is going to turn around in 6 months or a couple of years. It may be quite a while when we're settled into this great recession. But there is good news even in that. There's some great news, and we're going to share that with you tonight. I want to actually tell you a little bit about my journey. And I'm going to take you back to my own personal recession, which you wouldn't know about, but this is about 20 years ago. Chris and I had just gotten together. We just got married, like a lot of young couples. We didn't have much. We had each other, and that was enough. But our economic situation was pretty dire. We had been living on credit. As a matter of fact, we had the worst kind of credit, consumer credit. We had over $50,000 of credit card debt. And we didn't have high-paying jobs. We didn't play the lottery, and we weren't counting on any inheritance. So we really did not have a way out of that. We couldn't see ourselves paying down the principal. And if you've ever looked at those credit card statements where they say if you make the minimum payment, you know, in 28 years, you're going to owe this much, and, you know, good luck. It's kind of like that. What we noticed was that we were getting further and further and further behind. Now, that may not be your situation. I hope it's not. But for a lot of people, that's probably pretty close. The numbers may be different, but that's pretty close to how it is for them. They have debt, and they don't have a way to make it work. And given the current economics, the economic situation, again, it doesn't look pretty. I don't see relief on the horizon anytime soon. However, to carry that story a little bit further, a friend of ours introduced us to this great industry of network marketing. Maybe like yourself, if you're listening to this message, somebody invited you to listen to this, and we did. I got to admit, I had a lot of reluctance and a lot of resistance. I had an image of network marketing that was not accurate. No disrespect to our senior citizens, but my image of network marketing, a bunch of silver-haired old ladies going door to door trying to sell each other soap. I wasn't interested. It wasn't for me. But when I took a look, when I took a real look, a good look, I was impressed. I was deeply impressed. So deeply impressed that here I am 20 years later, and we've resolved our economic situation, or those circumstances. As a matter of fact, we now make more every single month than we owed on those credit cards. And we have for well over a decade. And it's residual income, folks. It's lifestyle money. It's not linear income. It's not the kind of job or small business where if we stop working, you know, that income stops. It's not that kind of money. It's lifetime and intergenerational residual income. Now, you may not need $50,000 or $100,000 a month. You may be thinking, well, I'd like to have $300 or $500 or $5,000 a month, and it'd make a difference for me and my family. And quite frankly, that's where most people in our industry are happy, and that's the level to which they aspire and they succeed. So it's more realistic, perhaps, to look at what is your desire? What would make a difference for you in terms of lifestyle, in terms of freedom, and maybe in terms of legacy? And I've got a few gray hairs. I know, you know, I won't be around forever. And when I do pass on, you know, the interesting thing, whether it's next week, next year, or next century, Life Force will keep mailing those checks to my estate, the charities I choose, my children, my friends, anybody I designate. See, this is a new form of wealth on the planet. a new form of wealth. The linear income model has worked very well, and it'll continue to work well. We need hourly employees. We need small business people, professional services, things like that. But if you're after something a little bit more, maybe on the side, maybe alongside your linear income, or maybe to replace your linear income, then I invite you to take a clear look at what this industry offers. You see, I mentioned there's a Great Recession on. Some people call it a Great Depression. That's no secret. But there are some secrets if you look at the last Great Depression. You know, there were pictures, the classic picture is a line of people around the block to get food stamps or waiting for a job application. You know, no disrespect, but we've gone from 20-something million people on food stamps to 40-something million people on food stamps in the last few years. Just because they're not in a line doesn't mean people aren't hurting. See, the thing is, in the last depression, it's not like, you know, some big vacuum hose came out of the sky and sucked all the money out of the economy. That's not what it was, folks. The money didn't disappear. It just simply changed pockets. And that's what's going on right now. Money's not disappearing. They're printing money. There's lots of money around. The question is, what about your personal situation? You know, it's very interesting to look at how the big picture works and the rise and fall of economies and companies, but what about your personal situation? That's really what makes a difference, isn't it? Your personal situation. When I look at network marketing, what I see is an industry, first of all, it's the most ethical way that I know to create wealth for myself. Completely ethical. I can only succeed if someone else finds value in what I'm offering. And even more, if I can help them get what they want, I succeed. That's the only way I succeed here. That's number one. But number two, access to what we have is completely open. You see, it doesn't matter where you were born, what family you were born into, what gender you are, what color your skin is, what your primary language is, what your IQ is, what your education is, what your background is, what your credit score is. None of that matters. It's so open that literally anybody can do this, provided they apply themselves. We have people in our company who are extremely disadvantaged. English is not their second language, their third language, and they become multimillionaires. So here's the thing. This industry is on fire. You're going to hear some statistics later from David Collister about just how big this industry is. But I want to keep it personal. I shared a little bit about my story, where we started, where we are now. I want to share a little bit about our lifestyle. You see, I actually at other times have made a lot of money in my life. But it was the kind of money that was tied to performance that day. In other words, to get the money, I had to work. I didn't have time freedom. I know a lot of guys that make a lot of money, but they don't have time freedom. One of the things I've discovered, along with these gray hairs, is I can always make more money, but I can't make more time. So if you want true freedom in your life, if you want financial freedom, the abundance to have the money that you want and need to do what you want, theoretically unlimited earnings, and you want the time freedom to enjoy that money, and furthermore, you want the location freedom to be anywhere in the world. You see, I can run a multi-million-dollar international business with this thing called a cell phone. I get anywhere in the world I can get cell reception. There goes my business. It runs with me. And if you also want the opportunity to work with people, high quality, high caliber, high integrity, high performance people, then this is the place to do it. I mentioned earlier my image of network marketing was senior citizens trying to sell each other soap. Well, the demographics today have shifted dramatically. This is the hot place where young entrepreneurs are finding their way to wealth with freedom, true freedom. And this is where millionaires and billionaires are investing today. This is the hot industry. See, I was introduced as an economist, and I study economics and how global finance moves, and I'm fascinated with that. And I'm fascinated with what's going on in the world today. You know, businesses are cratering. They're going away. They'll never return. Whole industries are going away. Countries are at risk of going away. Currencies are crumbling. Systems are cratering. And that's all fascinating and interesting. But what I'm more interested in is what's emerging. What are the shoots that are coming up to replace those things? And folks, you have the opportunity now to be on the right side of history. This industry is emerging powerfully as a force in the world. This industry is offering opportunity to the average person to become extraordinary in their accomplishment and their lifestyle. This industry is pure capitalism. And it's capitalism light. You see, you don't need an MBA to do this. You don't need to know finance and accounting and manufacturing, distribution and legal. You don't need all that stuff. What you need? Two things. Two things you need here to be successful. You need a goal or a vision or a dream, and you need to be willing to work to get it. And we will partner with you. If you choose to do this, we will partner with you and give you the training and the support and the guidance and the mentoring and what you need to get there quickly. Because after all, we're only successful if we can help you become successful. And that's the secret to why this industry is unstoppable.